Hey guys, so today I have swatches of the Zoya Paradise Sun collection. This is one half of the collections that Zoya is releasing for the summer. There are six kind of flaky metallics, which is the Paradise Sun collection, and then there is also a collection of 6 creams, which should be uploaded shortly after this one. Again, no face intro for this video. I just moved into my newly painted room and I'm really struggling with my lighting, so I apologize if my lighting is weird throughout this video, if my lighting is weird in the pictures. I'm really having a hard time with it right now. I will link Zoya down below where you guys can check these out. They are available right now, and I will get into the swatches. So the first polish is called Genesis, and this is a white with a silver shimmer. So here's one coat of Genesis. This one is a bit sheer and streaky on the first coat, so it is going to need at least one more. The shimmer does seem to be standing out pretty well though. You can probably see some staining on my nails as well that is from a couple of the polishes in this collection, which I'll talk about when we get to them. So there is one coat of Genesis. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a second coat. So here is 2 coats of Genesis. So this one is still a bit streaky on the second coat, so it is going to need a third. The formula on this one is a little bit on the thick side. It is fairly easy to apply and spread out, it's just thick. So there is 2 coats of Genesis. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a third coat. So here's 3 coats of Genesis. So this one does cover completely in 3 coats, but you have to do a very thick third coat to make sure that you don't need a fourth. And even then, I can still see through it in some areas. So there is 3 coats of Genesis. The next polish is called Aphrodite, and this is a reddish orange jelly. It has a slight silver shimmer, and then there are also some really cool larger kind of pink flakies in there as well. So here's 1 coat of Aphrodite. This one covers pretty well on the first coat, but I can still see my nail line because this is a jelly, so it is going to need a second. The formula on this one is good. It's much thinner than Genesis was, so it's a lot easier to work with. So there is 1 coat of Aphrodite. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a second coat. So here is 2 coats of Aphrodite. This one covers okay on the first coat. My lighting is making it a little bit hard to see, but I can still make my nail line out pretty clearly, so I'm going to do a third. Hopefully you can see the flakies as well. I feel like this one has the largest, obviously, flakies out of all the polishes in this collection. So there is 2 coats of Aphrodite. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a third coat. So here is 3 coats of Aphrodite. This one covers almost completely in 3 coats. You can still see my nail line a little bit, but you really have to look for it, so I don't think it's worth a fourth. Again, this is a much easier formula to work with than Genesis did. It's really smooth and easy to apply. So there is 3 coats of Aphrodite. So the next polish is called May, and this is a pink with a silver shimmer and some smaller kind of silver looking flakies. I feel like they're a little bit smaller than the ones in Aphrodite. This also kind of has this bluey violet flash to it. So here's 1 coat of May. This one covers pretty well on the first coat. I can still see my nail line a little bit, so it is going to need a second. The formula on this one is good. It feels about the same as Aphrodite. It might be a tiny bit thicker, but it's not as thick as Genesis. So there is 1 coat of May. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a second coat. So here is 2 coats of May. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. I really can't see my nail line at all, even when I try. And 2 coats does deepen the color quite a bit as well. I feel like this one is less of a jelly than Aphrodite was. Helps it be opaque quicker, but I wouldn't want Aphrodite to be more opaque because the jelly allows the flakies to really stand out. So there is 2 coats of May. So the next polish is Celine, and this is kind of like an emerald green. This has a silver shimmer, and it looks like it has some kind of blue sparks as well. It might have very, very, very tiny flakies, but they're not as big as they are in Aphrodite and May. So here's 1 coat of Celine. This one covers really well on the first coat. It's almost completely opaque in one, but I can still see a few spots that are lighter than others, so I'm going to do a second coat to even it out. This one, I will say, is one of the ones that did stain my nails when I did my pictures. It didn't have it on for very long, but it definitely stained. So there is 1 coat of Celine. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a second coat. So here's 2 coats of Celine. This one covers completely in 2 coats. It was nearly opaque in one, but 2 deepens the color and evens it out. The formula on this is really, really good. It's not too thick, not too thin. It's really easy to apply. I'm really impressed with just the color of this one. I wasn't expecting to like this as much as I do. So there is 2 coats of Celine. The next polish is called Oceane, I think, and this is a blue metallic with those slight silver flakies and silver shimmer. Unfortunately, this is the other one that stained my nails pretty badly. So here's 1 coat of Oceane. This one covers really well in the first coat. It's nearly opaque in one. It did go on really thick on my pointer finger. It's not quite perfectly even, so I am going to do a second. This has about the same formula as Celine, really smooth, really easy to apply. So there is 1 coat of Oceane. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a second coat. So here is 2 coats of Oceane. This one covers completely in 2 coats, and it does deepen the color a little bit, which I wasn't really expecting. This has a ton of sparkle to it. So there is 2 coats of Oceane. And the last polish is called Isa or Isa, and this is a purple metallic with, it has a lot of really unexpected kind of blue shimmer to it, a blue flash, but I don't see too much in the line of flakies. So here's 1 coat of Isa. This one covers pretty well on the first coat, but it is still a little bit streaky where there are lighter streaks and darker streaks, so I'm going to do a second. This one has a really good formula. Again, really smooth, really easy to apply. It doesn't feel, you know, some metallic polishes, they just have like a feel to them as you apply them. Oceane and Celine both had that. This one doesn't quite have that one, but it is close. So there is 1 coat of Isa. I'm going to let that dry and come back for a second coat. So here is 2 coats of Isa. This one covers completely in 2 coats. This does have a really weird smell, like the kind of weird smell that you usually have in blue polishes. I've never smelled it in a purple, but it's definitely there. China Glaze Frostbite and Sally Hansen's Pacific Blue, at least the original one, kind of have that weird blue smell to them. So there is 2 coats of Isa. So my favorite in this collection was Aphrodite. It's very hard to see the flakies on camera, but it had the largest and most prominent of any of the flakies, of any of the polishes that had flakies in the collection. It was a jelly, and it was, I mean, you could still make out my nail line if I really looked at 3 coats, but I just really, really liked that kind of hard candy effect that you get when you have a jelly with those flakies in it. So I really, really liked this one. So that is the Zoya Paradise Sun collection. Again, I will link Zoya down below where you guys can check these out because they are available right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later.